Most people over 60 make one walking change without realizing it. They do it because it feels safer. But that one change, repeated thousands of times, slowly makes balance worse, movement smaller, and walking harder every year. By the time we get to mistake number 4, I think you're going to understand something about your body that nobody ever explained to you. But first, try this. Let your chin drop slightly toward your chest, just for a moment. Feel what happens to your shoulders. Feel what happens to your upper back. That is exactly what happens to your entire spine every time you look at the floor while you walk. And most people do it on every single step. When your head tilts forward, your whole spine follows. Shoulders round, upper back curves. Your center of gravity shifts ahead of where your feet can actually support you, which means you are not walking forward. You are falling forward slowly and catching yourself with every single step. That repeated catching puts force through your knees, compresses your lower back, and turns balance from something automatic into something you have to actively manage. The fix is simple. Lift your gaze to about 10 feet ahead, not up, just forward. Let your chin be level. Feel your shoulders drop. Feel your chest open. That's your body recognizing where it belongs. And if that one shift surprised you, wait until you hear what happened to the woman who first showed me this pattern. Last year, a 74-year-old viewer named Margaret sent me a message. 3 years of knee pain. Doctors told her to keep moving. Every walk made it worse. Her grandson filmed her walking to the car one afternoon without warning her. When she watched it back, she went completely quiet. Her eyes were fixed on the pavement. Her steps were so small they almost looked like she was afraid to commit to moving forward. Her shoulders were up around her ears. She wasn't walking, she was surviving a walk, and she had absolutely no idea. She wrote to me again 6 weeks later. I'll read you that message at the end. But first, let me show you the rest of what she was doing. The second thing Margaret saw in that video was her steps. She said, "I looked like I was afraid the floor was going to move." She was right. When pain or instability enters your life, your nervous system does something specific. It shrinks your movement. Smaller steps feel more contained, more careful, safer. But extremely short shuffling steps are strongly linked to falls, not protection from them. Here's why. Imagine someone gently nudges you from the side while your feet are almost touching. You'd tip over almost immediately. Now imagine your feet are shoulder-width apart, with one foot slightly ahead of the other. That same nudge, you barely move. When steps get very short, you're walking in the narrow version of that picture, every step. Short steps also stop using your glutes, your most powerful muscles. When they go quiet, your lower back does their job instead. That's where the ache lives, not in weakness, not in arthritis, in mechanics. The fix is simple. Reach your heel slightly further forward on each step, just an inch, and push off with your back foot as it leaves the ground. That push-off wakes the glutes up. That's what starts taking the load off your back. If balance has ever felt worse in a crowded grocery store or anywhere with other people around you, this next mistake might be the exact reason. When you feel uncertain around others, your arms lock. You hold them close, slightly stiff, barely moving, and your body immediately becomes less stable, not more. Here's why. Your arm swing is your body's built-in counterbalance system. When your right leg steps forward, your left arm swings forward to balance it. That exchange happens automatically on every step, or it's supposed to. When it disappears, your trunk has to compensate for every step manually. Balance shifts from effortless to effortful. In the video Margaret watched, her right hand was gripping the edge of her jacket pocket. She hadn't noticed she was doing it. She shook her hands out before her next walk, let her arms move freely. She said it felt strange for about 30 seconds. Then it felt like something she'd forgotten coming back. Quick check. Think back to the last time you walked somewhere. Were your arms swinging even slightly, or were they close to your sides, barely moving? Just notice, because what comes next explains why that matters more than almost anything else. Here's the thing about knee pain that nobody ever tells you. Most people assume the problem is in the knee. That's almost never where it starts. Here's what's actually happening. Every time you sit, and for most seniors that's 6, 7, 8 hours a day, the muscles at the front of your hips are held in a shortened, compressed position. Over months and years, they stop fully releasing. So here's the part that surprises people. When you stand up to walk, those tight muscles reach back into your pelvis and pull it forward. That tips your upper body into a lean even if you don't feel it. And that lean changes the angle at which your knee bends on every step. It starts absorbing force it was never designed to handle. Not from an injury, not from a fall, from sitting in the same position day after day, year after year, while your body quietly adopted around it. Your knee didn't fail. It got handed a job that wasn't supposed to be its job. That's why stretching the knee doesn't fix it. That's why rest doesn't fix it. That's why some people walk more as their doctor suggested and feel worse. The knee is where the problem arrives, not where it starts. Here's how to interrupt the pattern. Every time you stand up from a chair, pause for 3 seconds. Pull your shoulders back gently. Soften your knees. Let your weight settle into the middle of your feet, not your toes. Feel the shift from leaning forward to standing tall. That's not a stretch. That's a reset, and it changes the mechanics of every step that follows. Most people assume that if a walk starts to feel harder after 10 minutes, they're getting tired. Sometimes the opposite is true. Sometimes the body gets tighter as it goes, not looser. Here's what that looks like from the inside. Pain has trained your body to brace during movement. Your core grips, your chest locks, your breath goes shallow without you deciding any of it. And braced muscles do not absorb impact, they transmit it. Every step taken in a tightened state sends more force through your joints than the same step taken in a relaxed one. So the longer the walk goes, the more your body protects itself, and the more force your joints absorb. That's why it gets harder. Not weakness, not the distance. Mechanics. The exit is an exhale. On your next walk, breathe out gently and deliberately as your heel touches the ground. Just that. Within 10 steps, you'll feel your shoulders drop. Your stride will open. Your body reads that breath as a signal, this is safe, and it starts moving like it is. This last one isn't a specific mistake. It's what happens when all the others go uncorrected long enough. Picture 2 people, both 65 today. Similar health, similar lives. One still walks through airports without thinking about it. The other has started looking for benches. One moves through a crowded grocery store at their own pace. The other reaches for the cart to feel steadier. 10 years later, those 2 people do not look like they started in the same place. Not because of disease, not because of bad luck, because of what they repeated quietly and automatically thousands of times a day. Which one are you closer to right now? That's not a judgment. It's the most important question this video can ask, because the only difference between those 2 people at 75 is what they noticed at 65. You just noticed it. I told you I'd read you Margaret's second message. Here's what she wrote. The first week, honestly, I didn't notice anything different. I kept forgetting to lift my gaze. I'd remind myself and then forget again 2 minutes later. The second week, something strange happened. I was a few minutes into a walk and I realized I hadn't been thinking about the walk at all. No planning, no calculating, no bracing for what it would feel like. I was just walking. I don't know how to explain how much I'd missed that. She didn't overhaul everything. She picked one thing. She kept forgetting, she kept trying. And somewhere in the second week, without a dramatic moment, without a milestone, walking stopped being something she braced herself for. If you know that feeling, the calculation before a walk, the way you weigh whether it's worth it, I want you to know what Margaret proved. That feeling is not permanent. It's what happens when awareness disappears. Today, it came back. If someone you love has started walking more slowly over the last few years, taking smaller steps, holding on to things, choosing the closer parking space, and they've been told it's just aging, just arthritis, just something to manage, send them this video before they believe that. Because what they're experiencing may not be inevitable. It may just be unnoticed. And if you recognized yourself today, leave a comment and tell me which mistake you found first. Or tell me about someone this made you think of. Those comments become the reason someone else watches to the end. See you in the next one.